Um, Episode 1, I'm going to talk about 3 current games right now. Rock Band Green Day, which comes out tomorrow, which would be June 8th, which probably by the time you watch this, that's way far, but that could be today or something. Just Cause 2, which has come out like a month ago. This is an old game, sort of, but still new enough to talk about. And also Split Second, which is also out now, but I don't actually own the game. I just played the demo. I can just talk about it. If you're interested in buying the game and you have nothing to do, then. But if you're wondering, and I'm gonna start out with talking about Just Cause 2. If you want to know about either of the ones, you can look down there, or over there, or over there, whatever, and I'll tell you when I start talking about those ones. But as I said, start talking about Just Cause 2, and I have the game right here, new enough to still be $60 used, or $60 new, $55 used. If you have a GameStop card, then it's like $50, $49. So you know that's always nice to have it. Always pays back, but I'm not advertising here. So Just Cause 2 is one of the best games I've played this year, probably the best so far. And one of the best I've played in a while. Like, people think maybe it's overrated just because of its large map, but I gotta tell you, that is what I live for. Like, that is my favorite thing in a video game. Sandbox, you know. And the little things, like it has 30 weapons around there. I don't really know. I have to check that out. But each as good as the next. At the beginning of missions, they even give you a gun or whatever with a whole bunch of bullets, usually a SMG, which helps a lot. A rocket launcher for if the mission is to blow something up. And there's also like 120 vehicles, helicopters, planes, boats, SUVs, bikes, cars, big rigs, and basically like they all are very unique. Some go extremely fast, like there's a jet that goes really fast. It kind of looks like a Harrier or something. It goes extremely fast, but then there's like these buggies that don't go anywhere. Not the dune buggies, but the three-wheeled things. And the big rigs obviously go slower, but have a lot more power and hold up more. And basically, I'll talk about the game, the storyline, and it's about. For me, it was a 16-hour game, but I farted around a lot, playing with the sandbox effects and driving around the city and stuff, just because it's so cool. I'd say you could probably beat it around 12 hours, but it feels like it'd be a lot more, like all of a sudden it just ends. But you start the game off, and you talk to all 3 factions, the Euler boys, the Reapers, and the Roaches, I think. And in the demo, you start off in the desert place, and that's all you get, and you just play with the Reapers. It gets really annoying. And but in the full game, you get a like 33-kilometer diameter map. It's ginormous. It's huge. It's crazy. Like, it's like the biggest map I've ever known. A lot of it's water, but then there's also a city, a kind of like a desert part, a forest part, a mountainous part with like snow and stuff. Like all these different things in just this little map. And there's also an airport, a commercial airport. A bunch of military runways where you can just pick up, you can extract jet points and take off, and maybe you get to your like objectives. Like I was gonna say, the objectives are hard to get to. They're a real pain. It's retarded. You can't just extract right over to your mission start. You have to extract over to a place you've already been, and then grab a fast vehicle like a plane or something, or buy one. They're freaking expensive. It's retarded. It takes a couple missions to even buy a stupid plane from the black market that you have to unlock eventually, and you have to find upgrades for and stuff for it to not suck. And but then you fly over and you basically have to just throw it out unless it's a helicopter. You can actually use those during missions, and they make it a lot easier. You can just grab a military helicopter. They usually respawn in like 2 seconds if you blow the next one up, but sometimes they're not there, and that's a pain. You can also find helicopters on top of buildings in Panau City. It's the island of Panau, and there's the city, and this basically a really tiny part. There's not usually that many missions there. They're usually like Euler boys, and but basically the missions start out and you're basically just getting places. You're taking over military bases. That way, if you die, you respawn in the closest one. So that always helps. But they're basically the same thing over and over again, which is basically just like escorting these guys through a base, and then just shooting these guys down as they upload some data or something to take it over. And but that's basically it for the game. There's a lot more details, but I'm talking about 3 games here in like 10 minutes. But this is the most I know about because it's the only one I played the full version. But I still know a lot about the other ones. I have some info on it that I can tell you about. But basically, they say it's a thumbs up rental, but I think it's a thumbs up buy. Because if you really want to beat the game and you want to take your time, maybe an hour a day or 2 hours a day, then it takes about a little bit over a week. And if you want to have fun afterwards, like you beat the game and there's still missions left that you can take over, and it just has like a lot of the missions are different. Some of them are the same and it gets annoying. You're like, oh, one of these missions is gonna start changing, but some of them are really cool. They're a lot different than others. Some involving planes where you like take over, and then there's the island that looks like the show Lost, which yeah, boo-hoo, it's canceled or whatever. It's done for, but the island's still pretty cool. It has that smoky ghost guy or whatever. I've never seen the show. I don't care about it, but I've just heard that there's a guy that looks like something. There's a mission there, and the mission's, like the end mission's really fun. It's kind of retarded how you have to shoot this old guy like 1,000 times, and he's just barely bruised, and then he eventually dies from a grenade, which you've been basically hurling him at him for like 100 times. And then what's weird is if you play missions after he already dies, they make it seem like he hasn't died yet, but it still doesn't make that much of a difference, just because it's a lot of fun. It's like Grand Theft Auto, only a little bit more boring, like not as congested, not like buildings constantly, everybody constantly, but it's a lot bigger. And it's just, if you want variety in Sandbox, as opposed to, oh, I just want a sand place, I just want a desert place, or I just want a mountainous place, it has all of it. I'm reading the back of the box here, and it says it's 1 player. Sorry about that, it is. The definition for PS3 is 720, but who really cares? It says it's DualShock compatible, which means that it probably uses the 6-axis. It really doesn't, but there's a rumble feature. So, and it takes up like 1.2 megabyte hard drive, which is pretty crazy, but if you have a PS3, you know that a lot of them take up a lot. It's mature, but oh my god, it's totally worth it. If they didn't make it mature, it would be a lot less fun. And basically, you can really get addicted to it. Just keep playing it and playing it, and there's so many possibilities to making fun of like the stupid what do they call them, like the computer generated characters, and the cops are really stupid. Like you'll shoot a guy right in front of them, they won't do anything, but you get close to them and they start freaking out. But basically the game is just crazy good. Okay, so what did I say the next one I was going to talk about? I'm going to talk about Split Second. There's a demo out right now in addition to the game. The game's $60. And basically it's a game where it's racing, boring as crap racing, but obviously the catch is that you can blow up things around you to affect the game, which is, I mean, that's a cool effect to it, and I'm sure that's the whole, it's based around that. And basically what'll happen is you'll start the match, and as you drift off people, bump people or something, what do you call it, like power sliding, and as you progress through the lap, couple laps, you'll get more and more power, and then there'll be little icons that come up on your enemy drivers' cars that basically tell you if you press a button, then something will happen. Usually, like the demo is an airport, so maybe a plane will come through and just blow it up, or there's a gas station or something. Maybe it's some sort of airliner gas station kind, but then it'll just blow up in front of them. Or when you're down into the parking deck, then cars will start exploding around them, and you too, but I don't think they affect you if you start it. But then there's like level 1, and then there's level 2, which are bigger and more effective.